Good morning. Welcome to a short podcast introducing your first summative evaluation that's going to be worth 30% of your final grade. Note that it is due March 1st, 2023, latest midnight. Many fashion designers research history, we know that, to find inspiration for future collections. It could be for color, textures, style, silhouette, etc. We look into the past to bring us notions, ideas, concepts that we can then reinvest in the production of future garments. This summative evaluation is divided into two parts. The first, the student completes a technical and stylistic analysis on a contemporary ensemble, a look, influenced by antiquity. A series of questions are answered on a Microsoft form. The second part is more of a historical analysis. The student finds and identifies two artifacts, artworks, that could have influenced the design of the ensemble. And so each artifact then becomes the center of an analysis that the student will do in the form of a report. And in so doing, the student is connecting the dots between or in time. It is very important to read the project description, which is a PDF, which will be available to you. This just serves as a broad overview, if you wish, of the different elements to the evaluation. It never replaces a careful reading. Part 1, Antiquity and Contemporary Influences, which will be worth 50%. The objectives are to develop the capacity to analyze a garment and synthesize findings, to use appropriate terminology, also to present your work, to understand the historical influences, on contemporary clothing. So the student is going to be assigned randomly one of 3 fashion videos in which the student then selects an ensemble to find out which of the 3 videos you may have been assigned. You would click on the list, which is what I've pointed out in red with a finger, you to an Excel spreadsheet where you have your name, and then next to it, the first column is the actual assignment of videos. All right. Then you would select select one of these 3 videos, depending on which one you've been assigned. To it, you will select an ensemble that is being featured in a fashion show, and you will come back to the list and put the actual look number next to your name. Here, I've put myself as an example, and I kind of reaffirm what a look may be. So I don't want you to come and put an actual image in this spreadsheet. This serves as an example at best. Technical and stylistic analysis, you can either click on the link to get to the actual Microsoft form, or you can scan, one or the other. I do suggest, though, in advance that you consult the different questions you can find here. I'm not going to go through them. I am simply going to emphasize that by consulting these in advance, you can work on a Word document. You can compose your answers because some require a maximum of 100 words at most. Beyond 100 words, I don't even correct it. All right, I'm quite strict about that. There are a few questions that are not on here, like, for example, what video you might have been assigned. You are reiterating it. The look, you will have to do a screen snapshot and place an image of your look. You will do a technical sheet. And then these are more elaborate questions that are being asked. You will fill. You can take that said Word document on which you will work out each answer, and you can then come and copy and paste in the Microsoft form if you prefer. To be sure that the form is completed and saved, I suggest that when you save your when you've completed your Microsoft form, save a PDF version of it and come and place it in the team portal under General Channel, under File. You're going to see that I've made folders already for Summative Evaluation 1, which I use the abbreviation EV1 for. Part 1, there's a folder for Part 1, and then there's a folder for Part 2. So you would save a PDF format of your Microsoft form and you would place it in EV1 Part 1. We then move to Part 2, Antiquity and Historical Influences. Here the objectives are really to go and research, to process that information, to interpret the information, then to present the information. You need to analyze, so you're observing, you're reflecting, you're interpreting. To discern the information that might be historical, cultural, or economical that may have influenced fashion trends at that time. To discern and assess the cyclical character of fashion and its development. And then to apply proper terminology and to learn to present work in an appropriate fashion. So you will find two artworks, two works, two artifacts. That could be painting, sculpture, illumination, pottery, an object that may have served as inspiration to the designer while ideating and designing the garments worn in the chosen look analyzed in Part 1. I reiterate that these works must come from antiquity. They must not come from contemporary times, all right? They must come from valid primary sources, notably museum collections, architectural sites, or historical monuments. I will show you examples in a second, but I wanted to be clear that no works that I have presented in my PowerPoint or in any other content, it could be lesson plans, can be used in this evaluation. You must go find your own works. I should have said here's an example. For example, I have this dress here that would have been the contemporary look that I found, say, out of one of the 3 videos. And I select this particular artwork, which is actually part of a throne. It's really the back part of the seat. And here I place it in my paper my report with a technical sheet next to it. So you'll be able to identify the different parts and you can use it as an example. The written essay, the part that I am focusing on right now, is the body of the essay, where you're going to have to write approximately 250 words per artifact. You have 2 artifacts. 250 words is about a page. So you can think of a page for each artifact, and that would really be the development, the body of the essay. It's not the intro, it's not the conclusion. In each page, you're presenting the artwork by offering information on the what is it, when was it created, where was it created, by whom was it created, and why was it created. The student is basically situating the reader on the geographic, historic, cultural, and economic context that prevailed when it was produced. In a second instance, you're justifying the choice of artwork by presenting the connections made between the look that you chose in the video and the artwork you have chosen to present. What are the parts that connect one to the other. The student must demonstrate the historical influences on the contemporary fashion. So you are doing that for both artworks. Again, I reiterate, each artwork should have about a page written on it. Ultimately, when you're done, you're obviously going to create a report in which you have a cover page, you have a table of content, you have your 2 technical sheets. There should be 1 per artwork. You will write up a short introduction. When I say short, it should be just maybe 100 words in which you will introduce your look that you have chosen, what fashion show, what collection, what designer, who was the designer of it, as well as just name the 2 artworks that are going to become the subject of the analysis in the body of your essay. Then you have the historical analysis on the 2 artworks, and you conclude with just a few remarks. So it's a conclusion that could be about 100 words tops. And of course, there's a bibliography. There's no doubt that you go find your artworks in the museum online collections, but then you will have to most likely consult other works, books, resources to help you fill in the gaps on those historical, economical, cultural context in which these pieces were produced. The actual research report should be mounted in a Word document, and you should save a copy in PDF format, and that report should be placed again in our Teams portal under the general channel in the files section, and you will see there is a folder for part 2. All of this is latest March 1st, 2023, midnight. I suggest that you try to organize your time for maybe giving yourselves a week and a half to do part 1, and then at least 2 weeks and a half to do part 2. If there are any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. I will be glad to answer those questions. Here is your correction grid, also found in the actual hard copy, that is to say the PDF form of your project description. And you will note that what is in blue here is for part 1, what is in green is for part 2, for a total of 100 points. And note that I can remove up to 10% of the grade for spelling or syntax errors. So please be sure to review the quality of the English language used in your answers.